Graceland, Mount Vernon, Villa Philmonte, Biltmore Estate. What do all these iconic homes have in common? They're more than just houses. They're museums. Spaces where the past comes alive, telling the stories of the people who lived there, the times they lived in, and the lives they shaped. Now imagine the house you live in becoming a museum. Would you live differently if you knew every corner, every object, and every little quirk of your home might be on display for the world to see? Would you treasure certain things more, hide others away, or maybe start thinking about the story your home tells about you? House museums do exactly that. They freeze a moment in time, preserving not just furniture and art, but the daily life, habits, and personalities of the people who lived there. This week, we step inside the world of house museums, where history isn't just remembered, it's lived. We'll explore what makes each home special, uncover quirky and fascinating features, and see how the Villa Philmonte at Philmont Scout Ranch in Cimarron, New Mexico holds its own among America's great house museums in this edition of Artifact of the Week. Let's begin with our anchor, the Villa Philmonte. Built in 1926 and 1927 by Waite and Genevieve Phillips, this home spans 28,000 square feet, 3 floors, and 37 rooms, 11 fireplaces, and dozens of windows that welcome the New Mexican sunlight. From the grand dining room to the cozy library, every corner tells a story. The ironwork, hand-painted stained glass, and original furnishings offer a window into the Phillips family life. Waite, Genevieve, and their children Helen, Jane, and Elliot or Chope. Unlike some of the other estates we'll see, the Villa was designed to function both as a luxurious retreat and a working ranch home. It hosted high-profile guests like Vice President Charles Dawes, while remaining deeply connected to the family's daily routines. In the 1970s, after decades of private residence and serving as the Philmont Training Center for Scout volunteers across the nation, the Villa transitioned into a house museum, preserving its unique blend of elegance and practicality for visitors to explore today. Each year, the Villa Philmonte welcomes thousands of visitors eager to explore the history of the home and the Phillips family. While the Villa Philmonte captures the family's New Mexico retreat, the Phillips family also had a year-round home that tells a complementary story. Their Villa Philbrook in Tulsa, Oklahoma offers its own unique story spanning about 70,000 square feet, 72 rooms, multiple fireplaces, and 25 acres of formal gardens. Today, the Villa Philbrook operates as the Philbrook Museum of Art, run by the Philbrook Foundation, continuing the family's legacy of elegance, art, and hospitality while welcoming visitors to explore its architecture, gardens, and world-class art collections. From the intimate elegance of the Phillips homes, we shift to a display of industrial-era opulence. Next, let's travel to Asheville, North Carolina, and step into the Biltmore Estate. Built in the late 1800s by George Vanderbilt, Biltmore remains the largest privately owned home in the United States, 178,000 square feet, 250 rooms, 65 fireplaces, and a banquet hall that makes the Villa Philmonte's grand dining room feel cozy by comparison. Where Villa Philmonte blends elegance with functionality, Biltmore's unambiguous statement of wealth and permanence. Vanderbilt's design was all about scale and splendor, a testament to industrial-era success. Yet visitors exploring Biltmore might notice echoes of the Villa Philmonte and the attention to craftsmanship and hospitality. The Phillips family also valued beauty, comfort, and hosting, but in a more approachable, lived-in way. In contrast to Biltmore's grandeur, Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee, the home of Elvis Presley, offers a glimpse into fame, music, and pop culture, showing how a house can reflect personal style rather than industrial-era wealth. Smaller than Biltmore, approximately 17,500 square feet with 23 rooms, Graceland captures a different kind of legacy: celebrity, music, and American pop culture. The Jungle Room, the Trophy Building, and the personal memorabilia give visitors insight into Elvis's personality and private life. Villa Philmonte and Graceland share a certain intimacy. Both homes allow us to step into the personal worlds of the inhabitants, but where Graceland tells the story of fame and showmanship, the Villa Philmonte reflects family life, work, and service, showing us how personal history and public engagement can coexist on a ranch in New Mexico. Shifting from the world of 20th century celebrity to 18th century statesmanship, Mount Vernon in Virginia provides a look at how leadership, agricultural, and personal life intersected at the nation's founding. Mount Vernon, the home of George Washington, offers yet another lens. With its 21 rooms and sprawling 11,000 square feet overlooking the Potomac River, the estate illustrates the life of a military leader and statesman at America's founding. Unlike Villa Philmonte, which embodies 20th century ranch elegance, Mount Vernon reflects 18th century agrarian life and the early experiments of American democracy. Washington inherited the estate in 1761 and steadily expanded it into a working plantation where hundreds of enslaved people labored to sustain the household, the fields, and the wealth that allowed Washington and his family to live in comfort. Yet there is a parallel. Both homes were centers of leadership in their own right. Villa Philmonte became a hub for scouting and education, much as Mount Vernon functioned as the administrative and operational center of a plantation. Mount Vernon offers a layered story, one of Washington's leadership and legacy, but also of the many people, free and enslaved, who lived and labored on the estate, making it a site that embodies both the ideals and contradictions of America's beginnings. Both homes extend their story beyond a single family, connecting personal life to a broader historical and social context. Villa Philmonte illustrates 20th century family life and community service, while Mount Vernon forces us to confront the full spectrum of American history, achievement and oppression, vision and contradiction. For a very different kind of home, we go back much further in time at Mesa Verde National Park. Cliff Palace offers a striking contrast, built around 1190 with about 150 rooms and 23 kivas or chambers for ritual. It housed perhaps 100 people at a time. Unlike Villa Philmonte or Biltmore, it wasn't a single-family home, and it isn't preserved today as a house museum. Instead, it was a community space designed for survival and social ritual. Villa Philmonte, by comparison, tells us about personal choice and expression, while Cliff Palace speaks to adaptation, resilience, and collective ingenuity. Together, these sites remind us that the idea of preserving history isn't just about wealth or fame, it's about the human experience and all its variety. On the other end of the spectrum, Hearst Castle showcases how homes can be spectacles of luxury and media influence, emphasizing display and entertainment over everyday family life. Hearst Castle in San Simeon, California, built by William Randolph Hearst, is a monument to entertainment, luxury, and media influence. 68,500 square feet, 165 rooms, pools, gardens, and even a private zoo, this estate represents spectacle on a massive scale. Villa Philmonte shares the desire to impress and host, but in a more understated, functional way. Where Hearst Castle is a stage, the Villa is a home that functions as both a private residence and later a public institution through scouting. Beyond grandeur and celebrity, some house museums preserve stories of social change. We should also consider homes preserved for the stories of social change, like the Martin Luther King Jr. birth home in Atlanta, Georgia. Unlike the grand estates, this modest two-story Queen Anne-style house tells the story of one of America's most influential leaders. Dr. King was born here in 1929 and spent the first 12 years of his life in this home, surrounded by faith, family, and a community that would shape his vision for justice. Preserved today as part of the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historical Park, the house gives visitors a glimpse into King's early life, the ordinary routines, the values of service and resilience instilled by his parents and the neighborhood environment that nurtured a future Nobel Peace Prize laureate. While the King birth home tells the story of a prominent leader, the Lower East Side Tenement Museum in New York City captures the experiences of ordinary people, showing how history is shaped not only by the famous, but by everyday lives. The museum tells the experiences of immigrant families who lived in cramped apartments with little light, no heat, and few luxuries. Unlike Biltmore or Hearst Castle, these homes reveal resilience in the face of struggle, showing how ordinary families built their new lives in America. Their preserved rooms, kitchens, and stairwells remind us that history is not only shaped by the powerful, but also by the ordinary individuals who formed the backbone of our cities, communities, and nation. When we step back, a pattern emerges. These homes, Villa Philmonte, Philbrook, Biltmore, Graceland, Mount Vernon, Cliff Palace, Hearst Castle, the King Birth Home, and the Tenement Museum, were all built or preserved by people who achieved success or influence, or whose lives reshaped history in lasting ways. They become physical symbols of their legacies, yet among them, Villa Philmonte stands out. Not the largest, not the most extravagant, but a home that transitioned from private residence to training center and finally to museum. It preserves both the elegance of family life and the ongoing legacy of scouting. Why do visitors return year after year? Part of it is simple curiosity. We want to peek behind the curtain into the lives of the powerful and famous, but it's more than that. House museums give us a tangible link to the past. They transform abstract history into something we can see, touch, and walk through. Villa Philmonte reminds us that history isn't just about dates or fame, it's about people, their lives, and the communities they touch. Preservation challenges us to ask, what story would your home tell? Villa Philmonte endures because it captures moments that mattered not just for the Phillips family, but for generations of scouts and visitors who continue to learn, grow, and carry those stories forward. That's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we continue to learn more about the history of Scouting America through the collection of the National Scouting Museum and Artifact of the Week.